The humanization of pets means families are investing in the well-being of their favorite furry friends. For years, this stock has been powered by animal spirits. Can the company stand on its own four legs?
While we're out here in San Francisco for the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, we're checking in with some of our absolute favorite companies in the industry. Companies like Zoetis, the huge animal health company that makes drugs, vaccines, and medical devices for both pets and livestock. Okay, this is a longtime Cramer fave. It's a classic play on the humanization of pets. It's had a gigantic run. This stock is up 340% since it was spun off by Pfizer in 2013, including 55% gain just last year. And its CEO just retired. So can the new management continue to propel the stock higher? Let's take a closer look with Kristin Peck, the new CEO of Zoetis, to get a better sense of where our company's headed. Ms. Peck, welcome to Mad Money.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited and energized to take over as CEO. So
fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, first, Juan Ramon Aleix is a huge fan of our viewers, okay? So what can you do to keep his legacy going?
Well, I'm super proud of everything we've built at Zoetis, and I've been there with Juan Ramon, who I adore, and the entire management team from the start. And as you said, we've had over 330% in total shareholder returns since inception. So it's been really, really great to do that. I think as well, as you look at some of the, we've been growing faster than the market. So we've had a great, and my job, I think, is to build on that momentum and really continue to invest in innovation and in wellness and really drive the company forward. So I'm super excited to do that and to be here with you, who've been a big fan of our space and our stock. So thank you.
Well, I'm a big fan. I am a pet lover, dogs, cats, and what innovations do you have for animals, for dogs who we know can't tell us that something's wrong?
Well, innovation is the lifeblood of Zoetis, as you know. I think we do it better than anyone. If you look over the last 5 years, we've actually launched 1,100 new products and life cycle innovations in the space. And we do that by investing over $1.1 billion in our R&D, our BD, and our capital expenditures. And the one innovation we are super excited about is Simparica Trio, which is a combination products for flea, tick, heartworm, and intestinal parasites. And we're really excited, as you probably saw. Right. We got approval last year in the EU, and we're launching in Q1. And we're very excited that we've recently completed our technical section and are now in administrative review. And we're pretty confident we're going to get approval in Q1 and launch shortly thereafter.
Well, it's huge for those of us who know that you have to put together a pastiche of drugs that are very expensive. What we really want is something that's effective. And so with Zoetis' brand, we know that. What are you going to, any preview for what you're going to talk about at the conference?
Well, first and foremost, we talk obviously a lot about our innovation. As we've talked about, we're excited about some of the new products we have, certainly in monoclonal antibodies, as you've seen, for both dogs and for cats. Continuing to grow our derm portfolio, as you've seen and you talk about all the time, about Apoquel and Cytopoint for atopic dermatitis. Right. I mean, one thing Zoetis is great at is building markets. If you remember, even a few years ago, derm wasn't even a market, and it's now a $1 billion market. So. And we're also excited about digital and data in livestock and really looking at individualized animal care.
All right, one of the things that you've been instrumental in helping me with is this notion of African swine fever and what it's doing. Particularly, we've got a trade agreement on Wednesday to the Chinese who do not have our biosecurity. That's something I think you're one of the most informed people about in the world. I want others to know about it.
African swine fever, really is a major issue in China. If you look at reports such as Rabobank, over 50% of the pigs in China have already been lost. And to put that in a little bit of context, that's more pigs than the U.S. produces in a year. So this is a big opportunity for many countries, just like the U.S. And I think as you look at the China trade deal to do exports, I would say not just of pork, but also of poultry. But what's exciting for Zoetis is they're going to have to source a lot of that protein, not just from the U.S., but from Brazil and Europe, all where we have a significant presence. So it's definitely a very serious disease, but a significant opportunity for the rest of the markets.
And you also talk about something, in our country, it's almost impossible to get to a pig farm because of biosecurity, but you said that the Chinese don't have that.
Biosecurity is a really important issue. And having strong biosecurity measures in place is not just good for the animals, it's good for the consumer, and it's really good for business. And I would say 3 things are really important in biosecurity. The first is good vaccine programs to prevent disease. The second is good surveillance programs to be testing but also really important is sanitary environments to raise these animals. And one of the challenges in China, where the majority of their pigs were raised in backyard farms, where putting these biosecurity measures is very challenging. They're really common in the U.S., as you spoke about, and certainly in Europe and many developed markets. And I think there's a big opportunity for companies like Zoetis to assist China in trying to put in place better biosecurity as they repopulate their herds.
All right, well, I hope they do a $50 billion buy of our pork. Now, another thing you and I talk about, as I did with Juan Ramon, is these dogs, the animals can't talk. And it's one of the things that, I mean, I know this, we have to talk about Australia, too. They can't tell us what's the matter. So we need effective diagnostics, and that's something you're moving into aggressively.
Yeah, I think as you look at the humanization of pets, the first thing is more and more people around the globe are medicalizing their pets. They're bringing their pets to the vet. And diagnostic plays a really important role in that because the animals can't speak themselves. And so you need to run some of these tests. If you have a lethargic dog with a fever, what's really underlying that? And so we've invested a lot in diagnostics in the last 2 years, as you know, certainly with the acquisition of Abaxis, but also in Reference Lab in the last few years. It's an exciting space that's growing faster than the animal health market at around 10%. So it's a fast growing market, but it's so important for the humanization of pets to really understand what's underlying and to make sure each dog or each cat is getting the care that they need.
Right, when the vets send you that card reminding you that it's Everest's time, use the card, believe it, go, because now they can do something. You can do something about it. Speaking of doing something about it, talk about what your company's doing in Australia.
Well, it's absolutely, the destruction is absolutely devastating, and seeing some of the images and the stories are just heartbreaking. And if you look at what's happening there, over 500 million animals have already been lost. And most of these fires, as you know, are really in a lot of the national forests. So it's a majority of natural indigenous wildlife, certainly some livestock and pet care. But we're really partnering first around product donations. But the real value I think we're adding is just partnering with the veterinarians there and as well as the zoologists to try to find products to treat some of these koalas and these kangaroos to really make a difference. And the other thing we're really proud of is our support of Beyond Blue, which is helping rural communities really deal with the emotional and other toll that this is taking. This is really happening in communities that don't have great support systems, and that's so important.
All right, well, glad you're doing something. Speaking of Beyond Meat is catching fire. What happens if people really turn, livestock's a big part of your business. What happens if the next generations really do turn on livestock and say, we don't want to eat live, we don't want to kill animals for our food? Could that hurt your business?
Well, alternative proteins are certainly a hot topic, and they're growing fast. But I think what's important to keep in mind is that animal-based proteins are still growing globally at 1% to 2%. That's being driven by, a growing middle class, as well as just population growth. I mean, we're 7.7 billion today, and by 2050, it'll be 9.7 billion. So what we're focused on Zoetis is finding more sustainable ways of producing animal-based proteins. Investing in digital and data analytics through precision livestock farming, which really focuses on individual animal care, being able to find out earlier animals that are, better to breed, that are getting sick. We really feel like that's the way to create more sustainable production, as well as our partnership with Colorado State, looking at antibiotic alternatives, which I think will be really important if we're going to grow a more sustainable food supply.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. That's Kristin Peck, CEO of Zoetis, the new CEO of Zoetis. Mad Money's back after the break.
Thanks so much.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.